The process of filling this one out is certainly taking a fair bit longer than I thought it was going to, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. Hello again team, it's Jess or JashiiCorrin, and today I'm going to be taking you through the prep pages for the PowerSheets that I recently got. The PowerSheets are an intentional goal planner system by Cultivate What Matters, and I got introduced to them from Cindy of Llamas Love Lettering. So throughout 2019 I've been watching her monthly check-in videos, and also going back and re-watching her videos from the start of the year where she set up her goals. More recently I've also been watching Plan with Lakin because she does a similar thing where she checks in every month to see how her goals are going. So jumping on the bandwagon with that, I decided to get myself a copy of the 6-month undated version. I figured I'd give it a try for the rest of the year to see how I like it, and then if it does work well for me, I'll get the 2020 version come the end of the year. As I mentioned, and as the title probably suggests, today we're just going to be looking at the prep pages, so that's up to page 33. I did consider writing all of this out on camera, but considering how long it took me, I'm kind of glad that I decided to go and write this in before making this video. Because a lot of the questions really get you to think, it did take quite a while to fill in some pages. And I think that having to be mindful of also where I was putting my book in front of the camera to make sure you guys could actually see it would have been a little bit difficult. So although I won't be filling anything out on camera, I am going to take you through what I have filled in. So turning through. So the first page you actually get to start writing on is page 5, where you write down your name and the date that you started. So you can see I started this on Thursday. My name, Jessica Siachi, and the day I started, 8th of August, 2019. After this, we just have a sticker page where it gives you a few stickers that you can use to mark out important things as you work through. It also says up the top here, use these stickers to mark your priorities, give yourself a little encouragement, or celebrate little by little progress. It also says you can get more stickers like this and color coding system stickers by going over and grabbing their goal setting sticker book on the Cultivate What Matters shop. So you can see so far I've only used one of their stickers, but I have used a couple of stickers from my other sticker books. Onto the first page where you're actually writing a lot. So this is your 2019 ideas page. It says, what comes to mind first as you think about 2019, and what do you hope it will look like? What do you want to grow or change? Write some initial thoughts or ideas here. Get messy. So you can see I've kind of incorporated a couple of little doodles, but mostly it's just words. Going from the top, some things I've been thinking about. So cultivating a happy home that's comfortable, warm, inviting, and especially tidy. I've also written here, better neighbors, ? Not that I have any control over that, but it would be nice. I've written down a healthy me, so moving more, eating better, and also working on my mental health. I know that stress this year and last has been a big issue, so looking at that would probably be a good idea. I've also written down weight loss please, because it's something that I've wanted for a while, but has not actually happened yet. Friendship, so spending quality time with friends. I did first just write more time with friends, but I really want that to be quality time. And then looking at shared experiences that we can have. Putting my best foot forward, so taking better care of my physical appearance. I've also written, because I'm lazy as fuck about this, and getting clothes that fit better, like a proper bra, and doing my hair and face in the morning, rather than just tying my wet hair up into a ponytail after my shower and then running out the door. Trying new foods, going new places, celebrating all the things, so birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, anything else. Having my shit together. Knowing where I'm going. I think that at the moment a lot of my feelings about my future are really uncertain, so I want to get a bit more clarity on those things. Back up to the top I've also written quality content, so this is mostly for YouTube, also kind of for Instagram, but mostly over here. So looking at a redesign of my channel art and my thumbnails, looking to better understand analytics, or understand them at all. Possibly looking at doing 1 month in my bullet journal series again. I also wrote down social media growth and then put a little cheeky face here and wrote always. Looking at the possibility of introducing printables and stickers. spending quality time and sharing experiences with my partner, who I call Vogel. And linked to that also the idea that we'd like to make some progress on our wedding by actually putting some plans down on paper. I also have my best friend's wedding coming up too, so I noted that down. Building my savings by spending less and saving more, and learning more about money management and investments. I've also written down to read more, or at least read some. Getting my full license, because getting my restricted license last year was one of my biggest achievements. Hopefully achieving some kind of work-life balance. And then I put down cries, freedom in my evenings, looking to declutter my digital space, taking more pictures, and then a sprinkling of other words in here. I also had clarity, portfolio life, and creativity. So at this stage, these aren't goals, these are just ideas about what I might want the rest of the year to look like. Moving on to the next page, we have the Getting to Know Me page. It says, make a mess, your answers don't have to be perfect, feel free to write in your own. So you can see on this page, I did get my stickers out. In terms of words that describe me, I ticked extroverted, spontaneous, organized, silly, emotional, loud, kinda cray, funny, and dumb. And I don't mean dumb as in like I'm stupid, I mean I like to act stupid. Which kind of ties in with the silly. For this part about my home and personal space, it is usually colourful, lived in and lively. I also then wrote in low-key chaos, showing signs of my laziness and a work in progress. And then I also put in a sticker to say that it is certainly not full of mementos because I really don't like knickknacks. Mostly because 1, I don't like clutter, and 2, I don't like dusting, and if you have knickknacks, then dusting is harder. Not that I dust anyways, but it's an excuse that I continue to use. In terms of favourite colours, we have purple, green, and silver. In terms of a song I love right now, it's Nails, Hair, Hips, Heels by Todrick Hall. I'm low-key obsessed with that song. We then have a section about ways I'm most encouraged, and I had a bit of an issue with this one because although I like all of the things on here, they don't necessarily encourage me. So the things that I've put down that do encourage me are affirming words and appreciation, but I also then put asterisks next to the rest of them saying I love these, but they don't encourage me. Things I love to do, I love singing, bullet journaling, making videos, cooking, being dumb with my friends, movies, being creative, meeting new people, and then I also put down a little sticker here and wrote and travel. In terms of the best memories I have, they have a list of the things that you can have your best memories involving. So for me, I wrote down that all of the things they've listed here are involved in my best memories. So spending time with friends and family, experiencing something new, accomplishing a goal I set for myself, that was the first one that I ticked, and then doing an activity that I love. Our next section says, I love being around people who are fun, loving, and laid back, encourage me, and are on my level. And by this I mean they understand my dumb humor, not they're on my level like I'm better than everybody else. Down the bottom we have, I feel motivated when someone encourages me and I'm thinking in hypotheticals. You know when it's late at night and you're lying in bed and you're thinking about all the ways that you want to change your life and you get really motivated, like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then the next morning your alarm goes off and you're like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, that's what I mean. And then I am grateful for Vogel, Rachel, Scotty, Emily, Security and Safety, Mum and Dad, Matt, Cameron, the Bujo community, and then of course the JashiiCorrin community, so all of you guys. You'll also see as we flick through, I do sometimes write down little notes over on the pages that have quotes or motivational words. So the ones that say over here we've got, maybe you're afraid to let your pen touch this paper because you want to put down perfect words. Final, clear, polished, perfect answers. And then I wrote relatable as fuck. Words that have meaning. Maybe you feel inadequate, overwhelmed, lost, or unsure of your path right now. And I said hella vanilla. And maybe you are afraid that the words you put down here will change you, so you hesitate. Guess what? Peonies go through dirt, and so do you. Hesitate no more, let the dirt be the dirt, make a mess, and dig in. Now I'll say that I don't necessarily resonate very much with feel-good vibes, if that kind of makes sense. Although I know that the words on these pages are probably really motivational and inspiring to some people, I find them more motivational and inspiring when I go and write my dumb little comments on the side. So as I mentioned, you will see a couple of those as we flip through. Onto our next page, we have Break Your Identity Box. Oh, this one was really tricky for me because I certainly do put myself into a box and say, I can do these things, I cannot do these other things. This idea of pigeonholing myself is a real issue for me. So when it came to this page, I kind of just had to sit there and have a little contemplative moment by myself before I actually put anything down onto the paper. So in terms of our blurb at the top, it says, how many times have you accepted defeat before even trying? Yeah, that's me. We are so quick to limit ourselves, deciding who we are and who we aren't. And then in the remaining lines up here, Lara, who is the creator of the PowerSheets, just goes into some examples for how she limited herself because of her identity box. So she says, I was told in college that I was sensitive and believed that meant I was weak. When something required strength, I assumed I couldn't do it. So I gave up before even trying. Defining our identities, our strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, in a rigid way can put our potential in a box. I used to say I'm not a numbers person. Putting myself in that identity box helped me back from change, so instead I began saying, I'm becoming more skilled at managing money well. Changing my limiting self-talk changed the course of my life. Perhaps you have believed the lie that you aren't good enough, or you can't do something because you aren't an expert. Perhaps someone once told you that you weren't the best at something, and you believed that person. Ready to break through that identity box? So, in terms of things that I decided, or had decided and now I'm trying to undecide? Yeah. What have you decided that you cannot do? What identity box or boxes have you unknowingly put yourself into? Write out your thoughts. So, I wrote down finding success as a creative, losing weight, taking care of my health, and sticking to routines. And then I wrote down that my identity boxes are sometimes less about what I can't do and more about what I am or what I do. I always tell myself that I'm always the upsize, get all the things when you only need X many, ew, exercise, I don't give a fuck, ain't nobody got time for that sort of person. And when these kind of things become central to your identity, they're hard to escape from. I watched a TED Talk a while ago about breaking habits or changing habits, and the hardest habits we have to change are the ones that we see linked with our self-identity. And it wasn't until I watched that I really realized why I have such a difficult time being a healthy person. Just as a side note, and one that I probably should have mentioned before we got started, a lot of this is really personal, so please don't judge me. I do really like sharing things with you guys, but putting the amount of stuff out there in the open that I'm doing right now is still tricky. Moving on to the next section though. Imagine the possibilities if you were to crush your identity box. What would happen if you broke that identity box and flipped the script? What positive possibilities would open up in your life and others? Write out your thoughts. So I wrote down, finding ways to be myself without holding myself to unhealthy ideals. Being a more elevated version of my authentic self and making choices I can be proud of. Taking care of me in all the ways I need to be without seeing that as a weakness. More freedom to make choices without shame. Live less of the all or nothing approach and be kinder to me. In a lot of ways, I'm very much the go hard or go home kind of person. So I've built my identity around this idea of, nah man, we're gonna do everything to 10,000%. There is no half-assing this. Whether that comes to doing things creatively, in my work, or just things for me personally. But the issue with that is, I'm not an expert at all of the things. I can't necessarily do 10,000% for everything. And if you're doing 10,000% for everything, exhaustion and burnout is real. Which means I'm often just left in this place of constant dissatisfaction. Anyway. Moving on to the next page, this is who I really am. So I wrote down, my name is Jess or JashiiCorrin. I am a teacher, YouTuber, partner, and friend. In the past, I have let the way I define myself control my actions. But now I'm ready to cut that shit out and be better to myself. I value my friends and family, freedom, and personal authenticity. In this next section, it just says my story in a few words, so I wrote down that From age of 0 to 16, I lived in Australia, and from the age of 16 and up, I lived in New Zealand. I have a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and a Masters of Teaching and Learning, which then led me to be a teacher. Prior to that, I was a tutor and a lab demonstrator, and then prior to that, I was a McDonald's customer representative. My partner Vogel and I started dating in 2012 on the 1st of September, and then we got engaged on September 1st in 2018. On July 25th, 2008, me and my best friend Rachel became best friends forever. And since living in New Zealand, I've lived at 33B, which we named Home of the Disappointing Salad, and our flat team was called the Whare Whānau, so whare meaning house or home, and whānau meaning family. So it's the te reo Māori way of essentially saying flat family. And then since then, last year when we got our house, we moved to 54A, home of the drug dealing and highly inconsiderate neighbours. And then I wrote hashtag why you like this. In the next section it says why I want to make what matters happen. And in her video that explains how to use PowerSheets, Lara Casey also says you can use this section to say why you chose the PowerSheets, which is why I've written a little note here for myself, or why I chose the PowerSheets. And underneath this I wrote because Cindy has them, duh. But for realies, this seems like a system that will help. I also wrote down, I'm low-key sick of setting myself goals and not achieving them. I want to live more, not just survive, which is what I feel like I'm doing a lot of the time. I can do better and I want to. Success stimulates me. Smiley face. Moving on to the next page though. This is the life evaluation. So I kind of see it to be similar like the level 10 life, where you rate yourself out of 10 in the different areas of life. So the areas they have here for you, and they do say that you can change them, but I just use them as they were. We have health, friends, spouse or significant other, family, finances, spiritual and personal growth, work and recreation. Up the top, our little blurb says, how are you? Look at the life areas below, feel free to modify them to make them fit your life, and evaluate how you are doing in each. Give yourself a rating between 1 and 10, along with a few thoughts on why you chose that number. 1 means you are not satisfied in the area and want to see big change. 10 means you are happy as a bee on honeysuckle. As you honestly evaluate each area of your life, don't get stuck in negative self-talk. Write in some positive thoughts for each area too, even if the positive feels tiny. On the other side it says, if you're like me, you often want to fix your circumstances right away instead of letting yourself feel anything at all. My instinct is to reach for a distraction when faced with something that feels hard, but that never brings me real, lasting peace or clarity. So, let's not do that. Maybe the soil of your life needs some fresh nutrients, or maybe there are some big rocks in the way of you planting new things. The only way you'll know though is to see what's there first. So when I went and put my numbers down in here, I didn't really think too much about them. I just went with a gut feeling and then started to write some of my thoughts out. So probably some of these ratings aren't quite what I'd give them now as I've had a think. But having a look at my lowest rated sections, we have a 2 for health, and I said it's getting worse because although I somewhat know what I have to do, I just don't do it. For work, I wrote down 4 and stress and balance. I spend more evenings than not doing work and it's exhausting. Changes need to be made. And for recreation, I wrote down a 4 as well. I love having fun and I love new experiences, but a lot of the time that I have for recreation, what time, gets used up to do the same old same old. The other section that I rated kind of low was the spiritual and personal growth. This one's mainly personal growth for me, but I put myself as a 4 for that and said I want to do more for my personal growth. I have some ideas of skills and capabilities that I want to develop, but I haven't pursued them yet. So with these ones, I feel that work and recreation have a lot of links with each other. Because I spend so much time doing work, it means I don't have a lot of time for recreation. It also means that when I get to the times I can do recreational things, I'm just exhausted. I don't want to spend it doing new things. I just want to sit in my chair and mope, or whatever. But turning over, in this section it asks you to circle the 3 areas of your life you most want to cultivate moving forward. So I decided to circle health, work, and spiritual and personal growth, mostly because I saw that connection between work and recreation, so I figure if I'm focusing on work, then the recreation will hopefully just follow. On our next page though, we have letting go, and our blurb says, maybe your cultivated life evaluation brought up challenging feelings, or maybe it made you feel extra excited about the possibility of the changes ahead. Whatever you've discovered in your evaluation, lay down your feelings. Moving forward requires letting go of something first. Let it all go here as you write out your thoughts. So at the time, I wrote down, the way I felt was anxious. I'm low-key kind of worried that I'm going to put in all this effort to setting goals that I care about, and then my usual self is going to let me down. I know I want to make big changes, but I'm half worried of either 1, failing, or 2, succeeding and feeling like the effort wasn't actually worth it. I don't like this treading water feeling. I want to move forward intentionally. So in terms of what am I letting go to move forward, not listening to what my body and mind need, fear of the unknown, not asking for help when I need it, oh my god, that is such an issue, pigeonholing myself, sacrificing fun for the not immediately necessary work, saying that I can't, letting my laziness hold me back, associating needing help with weakness, and here I've also written for me. I don't see that as being a weakness in other people, but whenever I feel like I need to ask for help, I have a really strong hesitation because I feel like people are going to see that in a weakness in me. I also wrote down procrastination, perfectionism, and then excuses. So many excuses. On to our next page. So we had some positive words here to help keep us motivated. Comparison isn't the thief of joy, it is the thief of everything. Keep your eyes on your purposeful path. Celebrate others. Celebrate progress, not perfection. That line in particular really resonated with me, so you'll see it does come up a couple more times throughout this setup. Cultivate gratitude over comparison. Gratitude turns what we have into more than enough. Onto this page here, which is Meet Your Fears. Now this page was kind of amusing for me, and I'll show you why in a second. The blurb up the top here says, fear can hold us back from making what matters happen. Write your honest feelings here. Challenge yourself to write the things you may not want to write. Why? Seeing your fears in writing can help you meet them and move forward. Your fears do not define who you are. Name them. No one needs to see this page but you. You can do it. Well, I am sharing this page with you, but hey, you guys can know about my fears, that's fine. So first one, I am afraid of making choices and decisions that are, or at least seem, final. Because I'm worried that I will regret them and won't be able to get back what I've lost. Our second one is I'm afraid of stagnancy and falling into boring patterns and routines that just see me surviving. Because I love changing things up, keeping current, and bore easily with the same old, same old. These two at the top in particular really amused me because it's like, oh yeah, I don't like to make choices that see me have change happen, but I also don't like the same old, same old. So it's like two sides of a coin. For our third one, I wrote down, I'm afraid of putting in effort, especially effort that is noticed by others, and then failing anyways. Because I don't like looking stupid and for sure don't like people knowing that I failed at something. That's been a fear of mine for years. Like, I can see that one stemming back to high school. That fear in particular is one of the ones where it would just lead me to not try at things, because not trying and failing, you can blame the failing on the not trying, but I always felt that if I tried and then failed, it would have been more my fault. Does that kind of make sense? Anyways, whatever. So, down the bottom it says, if I were to step into these fears and take action, my life would be... And I didn't really know how to answer this one, so I just wrote down scary but exciting, intentional, and less exhausting. I would feel empowered and free to make my own decisions without constant self-doubt. And then our question here is it worth it for me to step into my fears? And I ticked, yes, living on purpose is worth it, and I'm moving forward. For this one, it's looking at your past year, because I think traditionally using PowerSheets is done at the start of a new year. But looking at your past year and identifying the good things and the challenges. Our blurb says, before you move forward, learn from the past. The past has a lot to teach us. Let's review the good things and the challenges from the last year. As you dig into these next pages, look for threads. As you write, you may notice some themes or repetition. Those are threads, and they mean you're onto something. Those threads are your goals in the making. If you find yourself repeating your words or thoughts, keep digging. Uncovering good goals is like a treasure hunt. So I was actually pretty pleased with myself that I managed to write down an equal number of good things and challenges. I did also write myself a note that I'm sure there's more, it's just hard to remember. So in terms of the last year, and I kind of treated this as the last year in time, so the 8th of August this year back to the 8th of August last year. But I was kind of loose on that, so really it's just like anything from the start of 2018 to now. So in that period of time, things that happened that were good were getting a house, which was our first house. We got engaged. I had a lot of growth on my YouTube and then was able to get monetization from that. Getting the CAS coordinator position. Finally getting my restricted license after like 9 years of being a learner. Strengthening my relationships at work. Spending time with Rachel. Time with my mum and dad. Rachel and Jason got a house recently. And then more time with Emily. Doing our house reno shit, so doing our bathrooms and kitchen when we moved in, and then growing my online community. In terms of challenges, most of these are centered around exhaustion, but burnout, fatigue, caring too much or not enough, indecisiveness, laziness, excuses, time, not having clear pathways, the negative influence of others, taking the easy way out, and then the why even bother approach, a lack of balance, and stress. So you can see that the things on my good things page are pretty specific things that happened, whereas my challenges are more like general feelings that were kind of woven throughout the year. Then we have the lessons I learned page. So this is taking all of those good and challenging things from the past year and thinking about what you actually learnt from those experiences. So things that I wrote down was, I feel fucking excellent when I achieve a goal. That one in particular is related to my getting of my license. That was a really long-term goal, like on the goal bucket list each year for like 8 years. So when I finally achieved that, yes. I also wrote down that want isn't enough to get things done. I too often let my stress from work in particular let me make myself actually literally sick for reals. You can see that I just kind of didn't finish that thought, so I put myself a little star so I could see where it continued. I wrote down some of the people I'm close to don't really bring out the best in me when it comes to my health. I can save money, I just need to be active about it. If I can be lazy, then I'ma be lazy as fuck. I need clear and actionable steps to get things done good and proper like. I value having genuine connections with my work colleagues. I use work as an excuse to not go to things more than I should. Sometimes all you need is the right tool, #water bottle. So I found that once I bought my water bottle, I started drinking water a lot more. I can't say I kept that habit, but it certainly started off well. In terms of things that are in the wait, so what remains confusing, unanswered, or unresolved, I wrote down health questions, career decisions, weight loss, and next steps. At the moment, and throughout the setting up of these pages, I still have a lot of uncertainty regarding where I want my future to go. And most of those are related to the things that I've written down here. In our next section, we have people that I'm grateful for. So, who helped you cultivate what matters this year? Write down the names of those you are grateful for and why. And then do something about it. Thank them for the specific things they helped you with or inspired in you. You may think they don't need encouragement or it won't matter, but words have power. Gift your people with those words. You never know what good it might spark. I mean, coming from someone who, one of the ways I'm encouraged is words of affirmation and appreciation, I can totally understand why sharing your gratitude of others with them is valuable. So for number 1, we had Vogel, always there for me and one of the most supportive people I have in my life. Rachel, who is my best friend 5 ever, who I can always count on to hear me out when I need someone to talk to. Emily, because she's such an active supporter of all of my endeavours, and I also wrote down #proud Team Emily member. Mum and Dad for always being supportive and always being there to assist me whenever I need. The science department, some key players in particular, but always being there when I needed to rant or share some kind of a work experience. And then, of course, the JashiiCorrin community for actually interacting with my content. I love making videos, and it's nice that they at least seem to like it too. So in the interest of thanking people for the specific things they do, I'd like to thank everybody who's watching. As I said, I love making videos, and getting to share it with you guys just makes it so much better. I have a lot of appreciation for you. On to our next page. So, comparison is the thief of everything. I didn't write anything down on this one. It's just an excerpt from the Make It Happen book by Lara Casey. On this page, you write down the things that you're saying no to and saying yes to moving forward though. So things I'm saying no to are allowing others to negatively affect my progress towards my goals. In some ways, I'm incredibly stubborn, and in other ways, I'm incredibly easy to influence. Especially when I have something that I know I should do, but don't necessarily want to do, and then somebody says, nah, don't do it. I'm like, oh yep, sure, cool, we'll just not do that. Throw in the towel instantly. Excellent idea. So, saying no to that. Also saying no to being wish-wash with my plans for progress. Saying no to taking an all-or-nothing approach that puts me into a why even bother mentality. Saying no to weak source excuses. Saying no to procrastination and pigeonholing myself. Saying no to allowing my inner saboteur to fuck things up for me. Saying no to a fear of failure, a fear of looking weak, and a fear of looking stupid. Saying no to sacrificing because of work. Saying no to autopilot and monotony. Things I'm saying yes to though, I'm saying yes to being intentional, saying yes to making decisions and choices that bring me closer to where I want to be. Saying yes to taking care of myself. Saying yes to getting enough of the basics like sleep and water and nutrients. Saying yes to carpe diem, which is kind of a play on words of carpe diem. In Te Reo Māori, carpe means good, so whenever somebody says carpe, I just silently to myself finish that off with diem. Saying yes to asking for help, which is going to be such a challenge, but yes, saying yes to that. Saying yes to taking time out when I need it. Saying yes to new things and experiences, and saying yes to quality time with the people I love most. On our next page, we have dreams become decisions when you cultivate them. And this page here is where you list out all the things that fire you up. Our blurb says, what are the things that fuel you to make what matters happen? If being creative, playing with your kids, laughing with your best friend, singing in church, or baking cupcakes for your neighbors points you to what matters, name those things. Write them or sketch them or collage them here. So some of the things that I wrote down were cry laughing, where you laugh so hard that you start to cry. Sharing things that I made, whether it be food or videos or art. And then also making sure to see that people are enjoying those things as well. And it brings me a lot of joy. Doing work that helps or inspires others. I get fired up by praise and compliments, singing, chilling with my besties. Adventures, meeting new people, learning new skills, cooking, having and then spending time for myself and my interests, being silly and having fun, spending time with B, which is another name for Vogel, trying new things, going new places, getting to see my family, taking photos, bullet journaling, getting to be proud of myself, making videos, using Microsoft Excel, dyeing my hair, getting to pamper myself, intentionally pronouncing words badly. Have you guys seen that video that's like bacon double cheeseburger and Brussels sprouts and tater toots? I love that video so much. Like videos where people pronounce words badly intentionally, just I love that. Making cocktails and having them with friends. I also wrote down the science department members and then getting to have a laugh, our general chat, and also our every Friday science lunch. In my little box of things I love, I also wrote down tidy spaces, spreads that work well, clean things, warmth, good food, and achieving goals. I'm sure there are a few other things that really get me fired up, but Some of these things I actually did have to do a fair bit of digging before putting them onto the paper. Some things came up straight away, like cry laughing, whereas others did take a little bit more time to come to the surface. On our next page we have the big picture. Everyone ends up somewhere, but few end up somewhere on purpose. Let's make what matters happen on purpose. So here you want to list down where do you want to be when you're 80, what will and won't be important to you then. So things I decided that are going to be important when I'm 80, or at least things I think at this stage will be important, are my time having been spent well and meaningfully, with friends and family and experiences. The choices that I made are ones I can be proud of, and that I treated myself and others well. I want to make sure that I'm not a burden on people, so I want to have a healthy mind, healthy body, and also be financially stable. So prepared well for a comfortable later life, and I also feel like the way that I touch the lives of others will matter to me. Things I decided that won't matter are petty shit, basic bitches, and unnecessary negativity. There's probably a couple of other things that won't matter, but those were the top 3 that came to mind. In this space it says, if you could envision your most purposeful year yet, what would it look like? So the things I noted down here were being kind to me, healthy living, calm, stability, progress not perfection, so that idea coming back again, balanced, fun, intentional, using my time well, quality time with those who are close to me, creating a home space I love to be in, and mostly when I was writing this list, I was thinking about the things I don't want my year to be, so I also wrote those down as well. So I want to make sure that my most purposeful year is not full of excuses, not stressful or wasteful, not the same as usual, not full of self-doubt, and not full of self-negativity. I have a lot of that. On to the next page, down the bottom it asks us, what has been holding you back the most? So my number 1 thing was laziness, also fear, and then all the general excuses I make for myself. On page 29, it's all about choosing a word for the year. Now, I actually already knew what I wanted my word to be, but as Lara suggested in her video about how to use the PowerSheets, I did go back and flip through the pages and write out some of the words that seemed to come up a fair bit. So things I wrote down, balance, which you can see is the word that I chose, improve, which is my word of the year last year, clarity, momentum, adventure, fun, freedom, change, and intentionality. Next, flipping over to our Cultivate What Matters page. So it says, when what matters to you is clear and bold, you're more likely to live it. Name it, claim it, and let's get to cultivating it. So over here it asks, what matters most to me? And I wrote down my well-being and being the best version of myself, not feeling exhausted and overwhelmed to the point where I start making compromises with my life balance and health. Having and using time to spend with people that matter most and getting to experience the new and exciting things that life has to offer. Getting to feel proud of myself in the choices I make and the work I do. And for some final encouragement, this page says, you know all those things you've always wanted to do, you should go do them. Maybe you want to cultivate a stronger marriage, find confidence in your career path, or grow in community with others. Maybe you want to learn to steward your finances well, live with less, or finally do that thing that's been on your list forever. Whatever it is, let's get to it. So this page here is kind of like a declaration or a summary of what you've uncovered so far. So our blurb at the top says, imagine it, at the end of 2019. Depending on where you live, the weather gets colder, December 2019 rolls around, and you look back at your year. What would it take for you to look back and know that you cultivated what mattered? What will you wish you had started today? Flip back through everything you've written so far, and then fill this out as a summary of what you've uncovered on your PowerSheets journey so far. Let whatever words are true for you hit the page. Let's do this. So I wrote down for myself, my name is Jess, or JashiiCorrin. I dream of being healthy and happy. I'm deciding that I can. I want to make what matters happen because I'm sick of feeling bad about myself and just surviving rather than living. The parts of my life that need to be cultivated the most are my health, work, and personal growth. In order to do this, I'm letting go of my laziness, fear of the unknown, and crappy excuses. And pigeonholing myself. That shit sucks. My word for this year is balance, because too often I allow my life to become all about work. Not anymore. I will live this by saying yes to taking time for myself, and say no to letting my job take up all my time. I will surround myself with less self-negativity and a lack of accountability, and fill my life with more fun, laughter, time spent with family and friends, inspiration, etc. I will do this little by little and with leaps of faith along the way. My definition of success is allowing myself to see progress, not perfection, as my way forward, and feeling proud of myself. I'll start living my vision for this year by focusing on what matters, which is myself, my relationships, and the way I spend my time. When I'm 80, I want to have lived a life I can be proud of and be surrounded by friends and family, and not be a burden. Today is the day I begin. This is the end of the prep pages section. After this, you actually get into setting your goals for the year, or at least for me, it's what remains of 2019. I haven't started doing that quite yet, but it is my intention to get that finished in the next couple of days. So if you wanted to see how I turn all of these prep pages into actual goals that I'm going to action for the rest of the year, in my video next week I'll be going through that. On our last page for the first section, it says, it's okay to grow slow. We're about to plant some good seeds as we uncover goals that have meaning, and then we're going to take action on them. Making good things come to life requires a physical action, and then another action, and another. Over time, goals that were once leaps of faith you wrote here turn into a new life. The process of cultivating, breaking the soil, planting, tending, and waiting for the harvest is where life happens. It's where change and growth happen. The journey to making it happen is where the good stuff lives. Thank you for watching, team. If you liked today's video, please do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you wanted to see more from me, feel free to go check out another video. Until next time, bye! Write some initial thoughts or ideas. Why? Thank them for the specific